My name is Michael Eliason, and I am the Optimization Specialist for Western Sales. I'm going to walk you through the technology on a John Deere combine and what you need to do to set your combine to work its best for you. The first thing to determine is, at what point do I start setting myself up to succeed? When does proper harvest management start? It starts with your previous harvest and how you handle your crop residue. Whether you windrow and bale or chop and spread, it is important to pay attention to the crop residue coming out of the back of your combine. Pay attention to whether or not you need to complete a fall herbicide application or to harrow the straw residue. If you have a heavy weed presence in your field, you may want to look at a Redicop seed control unit to reduce the amount of weed seeds that survive the harvest process. The Redicop seed control unit offers an alternative to combat weeds during harvest of small grain and cereal crops while you are using your John Deere combine. The unit mounts to the combine chopper and injects processed chaff directly into the residue stream for excellent distribution over the entire cutting width. Use of the Redicop seed control unit reduces the need for pre-season and in-crop herbicide applications by reducing the volume of viable weed seeds in the field. It also acts as a tool to help reduce herbicide resistance issues. We know that harvest success starts with your previous harvest. What else can you do prior to harvest to give you the best results possible? Use a seeding or planting system that gives you precise control over your seeding depth and placement. Placing all seeds at a consistent seeding depth and as uniform of space between seeds as possible leads to uniform emergence. The more uniform the crop is, the easier it will be to harvest. Stay on top of your weed and pest issues. Less weeds in the field leads to easier separation of material other than grain and grain. Weeds mature at different rates than your crop, leading to issues cutting and processing the material in the combine. Insects can cause damage which affects maturity and seed size, both of which can make your combine harder to set. Ideal harvest conditions have the crop mat as uniform as possible in the field, both in terms of amount of material and maturity of the crop. The combine will have an easier time threshing and separating an even crop than a varying crop. If MOG stays constant, grain volumes can fluctuate and it should have little effect on combine performance. A combine's capacity is determined by material other than grain. It is important to understand how your combine works internally. Knowing how the crop flows through the combine helps you to set it properly. By understanding what each setting does, you can anticipate how making a change will affect other areas of the combine. Some of these changes could be unintended. For example, if you adjust your concave clearance to be tighter, you're going to need more horsepower and more fuel, and you're going to make the straw smaller, making your grain harder to separate. If you tighten your bottom sieve, you're going to block off airflow from the cleaning fan, which will cause more to go through your tailing system. If you tighten your chaffer, you're likely to increase your losses. Let's watch some videos that explain the crop flow of an S-Series combine and the new X9 series of combines.
High performance and efficiency, as well as excellent grain quality, are the winning factors that help the X9 series deliver the low harvesting cost per tonne that's so essential in successful harvesting operations. Let us take you on a journey to discover its innermost secrets. The wing movement of plus or minus 10 degrees leads to better ground following and better crop capturing. The projected pivot point technology of the wings enables a tighter reel cutter bar relationship throughout the entire wing range. Wide grain safer belts help to minimize losses in small grain crops like rapeseed to a minimum. The crop is fed head first with support in bushy crops from the fingered auger into the wide feeder house opening. Hydraulic fore-aft tilt control lets the operator adjust the angle of the feeder house on the go for faster harvesting in down crops. The mid-floor pivots to allow more space for high-volume crops. This ensures better crop engagement and a smoother transition through to the rotors. The 8-wing feed accelerator features a chevron pattern. This makes sure that the crop stream is gently pulled apart for an even feeding of the crop into the 2 rotors. Vanes on the front of each rotor ensure a smooth transition of the crop mat into the axial movement and fill the rotors as quickly as possible. Also, due to the counter-rotating rotors, the crop mat is divided without any sharp change in direction. This preserves the straw quality and reduces power and fuel consumption. The proven rotor design with its feeding, threshing and separating zones is carried over from the S-Series. The crop does 9.5 revolutions in the 3.5 metre rotor, which offers a massive active separation area. The prerequisite for high performance. The crop passes approximately 2.5 times over the threshing concaves, which adds up to a massive threshing surface area. The eccentric shape of the rotor housing with more space at the top creates a pull and release effect as the crop rotates, compressing at the bottom and then releasing at the top. This moves the grain to the outside of the crop flow where it is separated more easily. In high-yielding and high-moisture crops, active concave isolation boosts performance further by maintaining a consistent concave clearance. In the separation area, the crop passes the separation area 7 times, offering a massive separation capacity to cope with tough and wet small grain conditions. The large fingers spaced in a special pattern on the rotor enhance separation, allowing any trapped grain to escape. There is even an additional separation area under the discharge beater to remove those last few grains. A return pan catches all grain from the rotor and returns them to the front of the cleaning shoe. This ensures all materials pass over the entire cleaning shoe area, reducing grain losses even further. The all-new cleaning shoe offers 7 square meters of cleaning shoe area for a superb grain tank sample and a minimum amount of losses. Grain moves from the preparation pan onto an inclined front chaffer, which helps to spread out the material across the cleaning shoe. It also acts as a pre-cleaner. The crop then passes over a large ventilated step to ensure effective pre-cleaning. 4 high-capacity fans provide a constant airflow over the entire cleaning shoe. On rolling fields, Active Terrain Adjust automatically optimizes the cleaning shoe settings to reduce losses and achieve a clean grain tank sample. An active tailings system with smooth rubber paddles threshes the tailings content separately, boosting performance even further without increasing grain damage. The X9 series is also equipped with the revolutionary Combine Advisor automation technology. Cameras in the clean grain and tailings elevators continually measure the grain and sample quality. Combined with sensor information about losses, engine and rotor load, this system delivers consistent output in all conditions, no matter who is driving. The massive grain tank is designed for non-stop harvesting. And when it comes to unloading, it only takes 100 seconds to empty 13 tons of grain. Trailer filling is easy too, thanks to the active spout which allows the operator to direct the grain flow during unloading. The large diameter auger also runs at lower speed, further reducing the potential for grain damage. The auger is fitted with a cross-auger shutoff. This system allows the operator to empty the auger without having to unload the grain tank, greatly reducing wear and tear. Active yield sensors mounted in the grain tank calibrate the yield sensor automatically and continuously. This maximizes the accuracy of your yield maps, generating data you can trust for future decision-making on your fields. For easy residue management, the operator can simply switch from chop to drop at the flick of a switch. The 124-knife chopper offers superb chopping quality, and thanks to the remote adjustable counter knives, chopping intensity can be varied on the go to match the conditions. Mechanically driven straw spreader paddles blow the straw equally up to 15 meters wide. The X9 series, performance efficiency, grain quality with industry-leading precision ag technology.
Now that we understand how the crop flows through the John Deere combines, let's look at the data that is collected while the combine is operating. Your combine automatically collects and records large amounts of data for you so that you can use it in the future to improve your farming practices. This data includes yield, moisture, and elevation maps, but also tracks fuel usage, average ground speed, time spent harvesting, harvesting while unloading, unloading while not harvesting, as well as how much time you used different technologies and a multitude of other data. All of this information is automatically uploaded to your Operations Center account so that you can easily manage, review, and control access to it. Through advancements like active yield and our new calibration-free moisture sensor, John Deere is working to make this data more accurate than it has been in the past. John Deere combines incorporate large amounts of technology to help you be as efficient as possible and give you the ability to stay in the field longer. Let's take a closer look at what John Deere offers in their combines to help you harvest efficiently and comfortably. HarvestSmart controls your ground speed for you to increase efficiency and reduce fatigue. AutoTrack controls your steering for you to reduce skips, overlap, and fatigue. Automatic header height control helps your header and feeder house to be in the optimum position automatically to help you get every kernel of grain. Combine Advisor works with you to set your combine for optimal quality and minimal losses. Auto-Maintain works to keep your combine performing to the level that you've set it to, even as harvesting conditions change, by automatically adjusting settings when needed. Active Vision cameras give you a clear view into your clean grain and tailings elevators so that you have the best information possible to help you set your combine. Active Yield automatically calibrates your yield monitor in wheat, barley, canola, corn, and soybeans to keep your data as accurate as possible. Vision Track sensors tell you what is happening at the back of the rotor and at the back of the combine to help you keep an eye on your losses. Active Terrain Adjust automatically adjusts your fan and shoe settings as you climb and descend hills to minimize losses and keep grain quality high. Active Concave Isolation stabilizes your concaves and increases your capacity. This lets you keep harvesting later and start earlier to stretch your daily harvest window. Remote Knife Bank Adjustment gives you complete residue management control from the cab by letting you adjust how deep your knife bank engages into your chopper with the touch of a button. When you have your tailboard pushing crop residue to one side to fight a side wind, Auto Residue Swap will automatically switch which side the residue is being pushed towards when you turn at your headland. Factory-installed wiring harnesses and mounts for cameras located at the back of the combine, in the hopper, and at the end of your unloading auger let you see what you need to on your Generation 4 display with triggers that automatically bring up the camera feed when it is needed. Coverage map sharing lets multiple combines work in the same field off of the same guidance lines with more accurate yield maps. All operators in the same field are able to see the complete coverage and yield map at all times from their cabs, as well as share guidance lines between machines. Remote View and Adjust enables you to track the combine's progress from your home or the cab of your truck while being able to see what the combine settings are. You can let your combine operate, making adjustments to the settings from ground level to optimize it without having to stop the combine. Connect Mobile gives you the ability to see more data at one time for free simply by connecting your iPad to the combine. Connect Mobile gives you the ability to map relative grain loss, compare maps from seeding and spraying to your harvest map in real time so that you can track test plots, and show you what speed and direction the combine went through previous passes. Operations Center is an ever-expanding suite of agronomic and machine performance tools that works to help you plan crop rotations, create setup files, store and view data from all of your equipment, analyze data, and work with third-party companies for further insights into your operation. You can see data stream in from your combine in near real time, as well as track where it is in real time. It can even be used to track locations of your grain hauling equipment to ease logistics management. Equipment Plus gives you information on setting, maintaining, and operating your equipment right from your phone. It's like a condensed version of your operator's manual. Combine Advisor is a suite of technologies that work to start automating your combine for you. The following video will walk you through how it works.
A revolution in harvesting automation. Auto Maintain, a feature of Combine Advisor, automatically adjusts your combine settings to maintain grain loss and grain quality performance targets as conditions change. Auto Maintain eliminates the need for regular manual adjustments and gives you, the operator, the confidence that your combine is operating as efficiently as possible, regardless of who is in the seat. One of the features of Combine Advisor is the set of active vision cameras, specifically designed to identify changes in grain quality. You can view these cameras by pressing the Live Camera button on the Combine Advisor screen. The active vision cameras provide a real-time view of the clean grain and tailings elevators. One of the benefits of the Clean Grain Elevator camera is the View Grain Analysis option, which provides a color-coded identification of grain quality issues like foreign material, unthreshed grain, and broken grain in your sample. Prior to turning Auto Maintain on, you can utilize Optimize Performance to input grain quality or grain loss issues you are experiencing. You may select one or more issues at a time and report the level of severity for each issue. The system will utilize the current conditions and combine settings to recommend solutions. Solutions can be applied directly within the Optimize Performance tool. Harvest for a few minutes and check your grain sample again. Once the quality and loss levels of your sample are acceptable, it's time to set a performance target. When the target is acquired, the setup of Auto Maintain is complete. After setting the performance targets, reference the Auto Maintain settings screen to adjust the response aggressiveness and sensitivity levels. Utilizing onboard sensors, the machine will detect if loss or quality performance deviates from your desired target and automatically adjust to correct performance. If you notice a setting in blue on the home screen, a Combine Advisor system is automatically making adjustments to maintain your performance. You can use the History page to look at the machine's performance and adjustment history. View the Performance tab to see how the grain loss and grain quality levels are trending relative to the target level. As you can see, broken grain and separator loss is rising above the target. Use the Active tab to see the adjustments Auto Maintain is making to bring the quality and loss levels back within target. Here you can see that the concave clearance and rotor speed has decreased. If the issue happens again, new adjustments will be made to correct it. You can view a history of the adjustments and issues in the Completed tab. Auto Maintain works with Harvest Smart to maintain machine throughput.
When the Manage Targets with Grain Loss box is checked, the system will automatically adjust your engine power target if grain loss levels rise above your performance targets. With both of these scenarios, you can see how the systems help you optimize your machine and work to maintain the performance you expect.
Now that we've covered all of the technology that is there to help you, let's look at how we get our combine set. What order do you set your combine in? It does matter where you start. First, look at the MOG condition. Believe it or not, cylinder and concaves have a direct relationship with setting up the shoe. You want the straw to look like it never went through the combine, but still have no grain left in it. If MOG is broken up really bad, then you have a harder time separating it from the grain. Second, you want to address separator losses. Minimize the losses on the rotor because once it leaves the rotor, it's gone. Adjustments to change rotor loss lead to changes in what you're experiencing on the shoe, so you must get the rotor set right first. The third thing to address is cleaning shoe losses. Adjusting the shoe doesn't change losses elsewhere, so it is lower priority. It still must be addressed to minimize your total losses though. Next, you want to take a look at tailings volume and content. You want your tailings volume as low as possible so that you are not having to stop from the system plugging. If the volume needs to be higher to let previous areas improve though, so be it. Think of the bottom sieve as a regulator for how much you need to have returned back to be rethreshed. You're going to set the bottom sieve so you could stand a kernel of grain up between the fins as your starting point. Close it to rethresh more, open for less return. You don't want a lot of free grain present in your tailing system. You can have everything set well before this, and then cause grain damage in the tailing system by having large amounts of free grain. This may trick you into adjusting your threshing area when you don't need to. The last area to look at is your grain tank sample. Take care of all of the above and your sample will likely be fine already. If not, minor adjustments can be made. It's important not to get impatient and look at your sample early in the process, as this may lead to changes that you shouldn't make and set back your efforts of fine-tuning your settings. Having the correct concaves installed for the crop that you are harvesting is one of the most important settings on your combine. You want as much grain to exit the rotor area as possible in the threshing section. If you have a concave in that is too tight of a space, the grain cannot exit until it gets to the separator grates. Typically, this is what leads to rotor loss. You want to have as much space as possible for the grain to exit from the rotors while still getting a good thresh of the grain. Changing between styles of concaves in different crops is the best way to reduce separator losses while keeping grain quality high. But where do you use each type of concave? Small wire are used for cereals and hard threshing small grains. Large wire are used for easier threshing crops and crops with larger seeds. Round bar are typically used for corn, but I have seen successes using them in canola. Condex Max Thresh are small wire substitutes that are more aggressive. Condex Max Rounds are large wire and round bar substitutes. Both of the Condex concaves are especially useful if you are changing between concave types regularly because they are only half the width of the Deere concaves, which makes them easier to change. What tools and techniques do you use when you are going through the previously listed steps for setting your combine? Drop your straw in a windrow. This way you can inspect it and determine your straw condition. You can also see if you are experiencing any unthreshed losses. Use a drop pan to determine your total losses in the windrow and to determine if that lost grain is broken or insect or weather damaged, or if that's grain that you want to capture. If you have a chop to drop system, use it to compare separator losses and then compare that to your total losses, so that way you can determine how much of your losses are off the shoe and how much are out of the separator. Perform a power shutdown to help you determine if the material load in the shoe is balanced left to right, how much free grain you have coming out of your rotor in the separating section versus the threshing section, and how much is at your rear discharge beater at the rear of the rotor. Use your active vision cameras to determine how much free grain is in your tailings and how much MOG and broken grain is in your hopper. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions, please join us today for our Q&A session, or come and speak to us at Western Sales. Thank you.